I'm Associate Professor Gary Mortimer from the QUT Business School. And on behalf of the National Retailers Association, we have put together this short seminar for small and medium-sized retail businesses. Now, in this fourth seminar, I'll be covering inventory management practices and emerging trends. Let's begin. When you look at a profit and loss statement, we normally find that the first cost presented under the revenue line is inventory. Inventory, reported as cost of goods sold, is the biggest cost to a retail business. Yet, incredibly, we spend more time on other areas like staff training, service, store presentation, and driving loyalty and promotions. Inventory management is challenging. In a perfect world, retailers would only hold sufficient inventory to meet customer demand, and no more, thus limiting waste. And all inventory would sell at exactly the same rate. Unfortunately, predicting demand is difficult, and further, not all inventories are equal. In this seminar, we hope to provide you with some directions and answers. Inventory management is a balancing act. Retailers tend to err on the side of caution, holding a little more inventory than they actually need, fearful that they may run out of stock and disappoint customers. Now, when buying, retailers should consider not just the cost of goods, but also the other direct and indirect costs as well. For example, warehousing and storage costs. Handling costs. Somebody has to move and unpack that merchandise. Insurance costs. Remember, the more you hold, the more you need to pay. Food is exposed to perishability issues, as well as seasonality. Fashion, homeware, and consumer electronics are exposed to obsolescence. So remember, the more you hold, the more you may need to mark down in order to clear at a later stage. Finally, we rarely consider opportunity costs, and that is where we've spent all of our money on a range of inventory, and suddenly a new product range hits the market, and we don't have access to further funds to purchase the product, or possibly no further space to hold the inventory. Now, the other extreme is being too frugal with our inventory purchases and running out of stock. Naturally, there are significant risks in not having sufficient inventory to meet customer demand. And it's not just dissatisfied, unhappy shoppers. Customers may demand a replacement or alternative products be provided in lieu, or demand to have products shipped from other stores or be delivered directly to their homes. All of these tactics will impact on your profit. In a worst-case scenario, claims could be made relating to false advertising or bait advertising. So it's easy to see why retailers tend to carry a little bit more inventory than is required. When planning inventory, a retail manager must consider revenue. While inventory will drive your sales, it's your sales predictions that will guide your inventory purchases. This calculation is often done very bluntly, without proper interrogation of the data. So if we sold $10,000 last month and $10,000 the month before that, well, let's just order the same quantity of inventories again. Now, this is not an effective way to manage your inventory and can lead to overstocks and certainly unnecessary markdowns. For example, all inventories are not the same. Some sell at a faster rate than others. By interrogating your inventory management data carefully, you may find the majority of your revenue is generated from a very small range of your inventory. Thus, reordering the same items every month may contribute to small pockets of overstocks. So, predict your sales in both dollars and, most importantly, units. So how do you predict your next month's sales so that you can more accurately order your inventory? Many retail businesses set an annual budget, then divide that number by 12 and track accordingly. However, locking yourself into an annual budget can be risky as your external environment may change. A competitor may open or close, or roadworks might disrupt local traffic. While having an annual sales goal in mind is good, it's better to revise and review these projections more frequently, for example, monthly. Now, there are generally 4 approaches you can take. Now, in a naive approach, last month's sales becomes the prediction for next month. That's great if you're selling products that are very stable, like toilet paper or hand towel. A naive plus trend approach adds other elements, such as growth or decline or seasonality. A moving average prediction reduces those peaks and troughs throughout your forecast, providing a more accurate picture. Herein, one might examine 4 months of sales data. So, 4 months ago, 4% growth, then 6% growth, then 2%, and finally 3% growth. Now, averaging those out produces next month's sales prediction. Finally, weighted averages place more importance on recency. As you can see from the example provided, last month's results are considered more carefully than the results attained 4 months ago. So can you list your top 10 bestsellers? Which delivered the most profit? Remembering that all products are not the same, different demand and different margins. The Pareto approach to inventory management, also known as the ABC analysis, argues most economic return and productivity comes from only a small proportion of your inventory. Thus, like I said, treating all inventory the same is a mistake. Category A products are the most valuable to your business, delivering the largest proportion of your sales and profit. They're easy to manage, they're readily available, and they don't take up too much of your resources. Category B products are considered middle of the road. They're mostly associated with your Category A products you sell. For example, if you sell camping gear, tents would be considered a Category A product, but tent pegs are a Category B product. Retailers commonly underestimate the importance of Category B products. If managed correctly, some of these inventories may move into a Category A segment. Finally, Category C products make up the hundreds of small transactions you make each week. They're profitable, but not essential to the overall success of your business. If you range 900 different products in your store, generate $80,000 a week in sales, and serve over 2,500 shoppers, without proper data analysis, you can never effectively manage your inventory. Inventory data analysis does not need to be difficult. Applying an ABC approach enables you to deal with large, complex inventory data sets by separating these inventories into groups, thereby enabling you to make more meaningful inventory decisions and prioritise your strategies. Most inventory software systems will do this for you. However, if yours doesn't, let's look at some simple steps to inventory data management. Let's start with a stock take. What inventory did you hold and sell last month? Here is an example of a small grocer. In the first table, we can see that this retailer sold 400 units of balloons, 200 paper towels, and so on. At first glance, it appears the balloons were their best-selling line, possibly a Category A product. In the second table, we need to identify the value of that inventory. We can now see that balloons only sold for $1, apples 10 cents, and stools $15. Now that we know how much inventory you sold, we need to consider how much did each product contribute to your business. While apples may be considered a great seller, this table indicates they only contributed very little in revenue. At this stage, you should also consider measuring your costs and your margins. While ranging products that sell well are important, selling profitable products are equally as important. Step 3 requires you to calculate the percentage of overall sales or profit for each product delivered. In this table, we can see that just one line, stools, contributed over 50% of last month's sales. Now, while such a large percentage would be uncommon if you analyse several hundred products, this type of analysis can help you identify the most important product categories. With this data, you can adapt your ranges, delete products, increase floor space, or even shelf space. Now that you've completed your stock take, have identified the inventory held and sold, the value of each product returned, as well as the proportion of sales and profit each product's contributing to your overall business, you can now go about categorising your inventory into ABC groups. Now, there's no hard and fast rule when categorising. You can attribute Category A products to those that return the most sales, the most profit, or the largest proportion of your total overall sales and profit. You should also consider stock weight at this stage. So how much inventory are you holding that's contributing to your overall sales? Herein, we're looking for productive inventory. In the example provided, stools are highly productive inventory, representing only 8% of your total inventory, whereas 33% of your inventory is made up of balloons, that is only returning 14% of your overall revenue. While many inventory management software packages can aid you in analysing data, retailers often don't utilise functionality of these packages. The goal of taking an analytical approach to inventory management is to help you balance your inventory and thereby reduce waste and loss. As briefly stated, poor inventory management practices can lead to unnecessary markdowns, damaged or perished products, obsolescence, or high handling costs. One way to reduce these costs is to consider increasing the frequency of your orders, thereby holding less inventory each month. However, you should balance these ordering costs with any increased holding costs. Another approach is to adopt a VMI program, whereby the vendor or the supplier manages the orders and the inventory for you. However, be conscious that you may lose control over your ordering process. So as we conclude our fourth seminar, retail managers should now be able to identify the risks of holding too much inventory and not enough, the links between sales predictions and inventory, 4 ways to predict sales, 4 steps to analysing inventory, and the actions you need to take post-analysis.